Super Mario was one of the most well-known mascots for video games out there. Changing the video game industry in 1985 with the release of Super Mario Bros. On the NES, Mario has remained relevant to modern day with releases of new games. Since E3 just hit recently, the Nintendo Direct took the internet by storm, I thought I'd go ahead and talk about our favorite Italian plumber, and one of the strangest occurrences in the Super Mario franchise to date. So, go ahead and sit back, relax, drink some water because that's important. Don't worry about all that petty stress and drama right now because I know you're above it, and get ready because today we'll be talking about the anomaly of Super Mario 128. Before we jump into the absolute strange case of this, we need to backtrack a few years to the early 90s. In the early 90s, Nintendo wanted to release a 3D Mario game. The idea started when Nintendo began to realize what they could do using the Super FX chip in the SNES. While it's unknown if any sort of 3D Mario game was in development that utilized the Super FX chip, Shigeru Miyamoto has mentioned in an interview that this is where the idea started. The first 3D Mario game began development for the Nintendo 64, and it was revolutionary. To be completely honest, this is my favorite video game of all time. The game was so successful that it sold nearly 12 million copies. Nintendo saw so much success that they knew they had to bank in on that profit that 3D Mario games had to offer, and thus began to work on a sequel. This sequel was planned in 1996, the year of release for Super Mario 64, and it was intended to be for the 64DD. Apparently, Miyamoto had begun to establish a team of developers who had worked on Mario 64 just for the sequel. At E3 in 1997, Miyamoto had announced that the game had just begun development. However, the project was scrapped due to the immense failure that the 64DD had brought with it. However, I find it extremely unlikely that the project had been completely scrapped, as just 3 years later at Space World 2000, a new prototype under the name Super Mario 128 was revealed to the public. I use the term prototype extremely heavy, as the content shown at Space World was nothing more than a tech demo. It was made to show off the capabilities of what the Nintendo GameCube, set to release just a year later, could truly do. It started as a rendering of the original 2D Mario being made up of 3D boxes. Those boxes each had their own Mario inside. This massive 2D Mario would be dismantled box by box until there were exactly 128 Marios running around on screen, revealing the GameCube logo. Each individual Mario runs around and does their own thing. Eventually, the GameCube logo platform thing that they're all standing on starts to warp, throwing many little Marios off, but they come back from the sky, essentially respawning. I assume this is basically to show off what kind of world generation the GameCube can do. The Marios began to interact with each other, showing that it is possible for in-game interactions between players. They turn invisible as well, leaving behind only their shadows before reappearing again. They continue to do their own thing until the board turns into a massive pizza and the pizza is inputted as a disc into the GameCube console. The tech demo ends. One thing to note was that a separate Mario game was being developed at the time of 128. That game being Super Mario Sunshine. While many people believe the two have been the same, Miyamoto debunked this himself in a 2003 E3 interview, where he said, "In the case of Mario, obviously we were doing work on the Mario 128 demo that we were showing at Space World, and separately we were doing work on experiments that we made into Mario Sunshine. That has absolutely nothing to do with us trying to make something that we think the users want versus me trying to make something that I want to make." It's important to mention that Mario Sunshine demo was shown off at Space World 2001, just a year after the tech demo of Mario 128 was shown. Mario 128 was said to have still been in development around this time, and in 2001, Smash Bros. Melee was released and featured an event match called Super Mario 128, where the player has to fight 128 tiny Marios. It seemed that whatever Super Mario 128 was, Nintendo was seriously hyping it up. In 2002, Miyamoto once again confirmed that Super Mario 128 was in development, and that was pretty much it for the year. In 2003, Super Mario 128 was not shown at E3, with rumors starting that the game was so advanced, Nintendo didn't want people to take ideas from it. In a CNN Money article from 2003, George Harrison of Nintendo is said to have claimed that it was a possibility that Super Mario 128 may not even appear on the GameCube. The article goes on to claim that the title of the game was still under development. In 2004, Miyamoto yet again confirmed that this game was still in development during an interview with GameSpy. He had this to say about it. "It's moving along secretly like a submarine under the water. When developing, we often look at the different hardware and run different experiments on it and try out different ideas. There have been a number of different experiment ideas that have been running on the GameCube. There are some that we have run on the DS, and there are other ideas too. At this point, I just don't know if we'll see that game on one system or another. It's still hard for me to make that decision. I'm the only director on that game right now. I have the programmers making different experiments, and when I see the results, I will make the final decision. 2005 rolled around, and although Reggie Fils-Aimé claimed that Mario 128 would be shown at E3, it never happened. When brought up to Miyamoto, he claims the development of the game had played a large role in the production of the Wii, the console set to release in 2006. 2007 hit, and the fate of Super Mario 128 was revealed by Miyamoto himself. He had two things to say about the matter during his GDC 2007 keynote speech. The one question I'm always asked is what happened to Mario 128? The purpose of that demo was to show how the new technology in the GameCube could dynamically change the nature of Mario games. So when people ask me what happened to it, I'm always at a loss as to how to answer it, because most of you have already played it, but you played it in a game called Pikmin. This game featured one element of Mario 128 that allowed a large number of characters to operate independently and as a group. It's advanced AI. But of course, if I was to tell you all that this is what happened to Mario 128, you'd all be pretty angry. So, you'll be experiencing another element of Mario 128 fairly soon. In Super Mario Galaxy, you'll be playing on numerous spherical stages, and this is one of the experiments we were conducting at the time of Mario 128. You'll be able to play Super Mario Galaxy this year. So, that's what happened to the game. It was basically reworked into Pikmin and Super Mario Galaxy. However, the point of this video isn't just to discuss the history of this game, because we're also talking about lost media. We need to look at what exactly happened to that tech demo shown at E3, what kinds of bits and pieces were shown in the company, and how much of the content was scrapped versus being reworked. So, to truly clear up what happened to the tech demo, we have to go back a good 21 years. Believe me, I'm not too thrilled about backtracking 2 decades, but it's for the greater good. I decided to look into what happens to tech demos during the development of a video game. For what I found, it seems that tech demos and game development are 2 separate things, with certain attributes from the game's development being shown in the demo. This makes sense to all the wacky stuff we witnessed in the Mario 128 demo, like the character interaction and the world gen function. So, since I assume most, if not all of the Mario 128 game development was turned into Super Mario Galaxy, with certain functions being carried over to Pikmin, I focused in on the Super Mario 128 tech demo mystery. Assuming Nintendo is good with archiving most of their stuff, the tech demo should be with Nintendo. Since Space World, the convention the demo was shown at, is also a Nintendo-owned event, we can assume that most, if not all, the content presented is still with Nintendo and game development teams. I decided to try to reach out to Nintendo to inquire about what happens to tech demos after they're shown to the public. Unfortunately, they didn't reply by the deadline of this video, so I had to do the next best thing. Ask friends and search Google. Honestly though, I didn't expect much to come from this. The common consensus is that the tech demos were exclusively made to be shown off, and after such, are usually discarded, archived, or reworked. Now, I'm not entirely sure how true the rework part is, because if you make something specifically to serve its purpose, what are you fine-tuning it again for? So I mainly looked into archival and discarding. Now, as a lost media hunter, the last thing you'd want is for something to just plainly be discarded, so that's only being looked at as a final, I can't find anything option. While I was unable to find any public archive of Nintendo content or publications, there were a few articles discussing how Nintendo needed to treat game preservation better, so that was already kind of a red flag. I was also able to find a website called NinNB, the unofficial Nintendo archive, so that's pretty interesting. A lot of the arguing points for Nintendo having bad video game preservation comes from the eShop limited runs, which is why people also throw Sony under the bus in this category. The only difference here is that we're talking about video game preservation versus the tech demo. And let's be completely honest here, if Nintendo isn't the best at preserving a whole game, then what are the chances of a tech demo from 20 years ago surviving? This is how I see it. There was no reason to rework the tech demo because it was made exclusively for Space World. So, I have 2 theories. Theory number 1 is that the tech demo was archived and exists somewhere within a Nintendo archive. But that's a slight hope. Theory number 2 is that when Nintendo was done with it, they threw it out. Personally, I see this as the most likely outcome for the build of this tech demo. People can recreate it, sure, but the most likely fate of it is that it was probably thrown out. And that's extremely unfortunate. So yeah, that's the story of the Super Mario 128 tech demo. The game became Pikmin and Mario Galaxy, and the tech demo just became lost to the sands of time. Unfortunate for something so mysterious to just disappear in the blink of an eye, but hey, that's lost media for you. I was actually hoping that there would be more information about tech demos online for post-demonstration, however, there was a surprising lack of it. Hopefully people in the comments can tell me more information about this kinds of stuff, because in all honesty, I don't know much about video game or tech demo builds. I've actually been wanting to make a Mario Lost Media video for a while now, and the chances are that this won't be the last, as like I said before, Mario 64 is my favorite game of all time. I want to go ahead and apologize if this video is shorter than usual. I was seriously surprised to see how little information there was about tech demos. The further I went into this video, the less information I had about the tech demo, so I kind of wanted to cancel, but I was in too deep and couldn't just start another topic out of nowhere. Regardless, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and if you did enjoy it, leave a like and comment your thoughts down below. Also, consider subscribing, it's free, and you can click that bell icon to be notified of my next upload. Sorry if you can hear the AC in the background, it's currently like 11 PM, and I'm trying to hurry up to get this going, and the AC's on, and yeah. As always guys, it's been a blast, and I will see you all next time. Peace!